This is Learn from Others, where we interview a cross-section of successful individuals so you can learn from their experiences, achievements, and even their mistakes. We ask 4 questions that will educate and inspire. Greg Stanley will be your guide as we join our guest on a journey from adolescent daydreaming to success in today's world. Join us on this adventure as we learn from others together.
Well, welcome to Learn from Others, where we help others succeed by sharing success. I'm very excited to introduce a special guest today, Michele Jones. Michele, how are you doing today?
Wonderful. Thank you for having me, Greg.
Yeah, thanks for being on the show. Well, before we find out what you're actually doing today, if you would, could you tell me, what did you want to be when you grew up?
When I grew up, my dream job was to be an actress on Saturday Night Live.
Really? Now, why was that? And what age was this?
From as early as I can remember, my family watched Saturday Night Live. I would say as young as 5 or 6, and throughout my high school years, it was always a dream, and I was in theater. I would say because it was inspiring. They were inspiring to a large amount of people, and they had a ton of fun, and they got to be extremely creative every week, and that is what I wanted in a career.
Wow, that's really cool. So how did this manifest itself? Did you do skits at home? Did you do anything with siblings? Did you join the choir? Did it manifest itself in a certain way?
I was part of theater throughout middle school and high school, and then after I left high school, I was also part of my community theater.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay, so now how far did this go, this trek?
I would say I stopped that trek about the time when I was about 19, and I am at a stage where I would love to go back and do some stuff for fun. I don't know if I necessarily drove to have a career out of it, but it was definitely a dream job.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's really cool. So you wanted to do something like that when you grew up. Well, if you would, tell me what you do today and kind of walk us through how you got there.
Today, I work at Dell Technologies, and I am in our education services organization, and I started just outside of my 21st birthday. I started at a very young age and was able to get an entry-level position, and I've now been here for 17 years. I did not at the time imagine that this would be a lifelong career, and it absolutely has turned into it, and it has been an absolute journey and just a lot of fun being able to go from an entry-level position to now 6 promotions later being in the position that I'm at today, being a consultant and being able to help others.
Well, now walk us through that a little bit. So what changed your career trajectory? Because you said you kind of pursued the kind of Saturday Night Live acting, skit, portrayal, humor till you were 19. So what changed at that point? Was it during school you had a change of heart? Was it, like, what drove that?
I moved to Austin from my hometown, a little town in northeast Texas. And moving to Austin, I had started going to Austin Community College, taking a few classes, and that's also when I started at Dell and just learning a living on my own. So it was mostly just trying to pay the bills and to get a good job to pay for school and life along the way. And through that, what I found was that I could make a career and make the money that I needed working up through Dell versus going through the education route.
It's funny because I had a similar path. I ended up working for Nabisco just as a summer job, and it turned out to be like a 25-year career, So you never know when those opportunities arise that turn into a career you weren't quite expecting, right?
Correct. Yes, and I feel that the reasons why I wanted to be an actress, that piece of having fun and being creative and being influential and impacting the lives of others, I do that today, and that's why I love what I do. Although I'm not an actress on Saturday Night Live, I still feel very much that I'm on stage, and in a very large amount of my job, I'm on stage presenting to vice presidents or otherwise, and the only big difference is instead of acting like some other character, you have to be you. You
Right.
have to show up and be vulnerable and make yourself believable that you care about helping others and that you care in a real and genuine, honest way.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And I think a lot of folks are like us in that, what ends up being the career isn't exactly what they initially planned. And I think a key to that is finding happiness in that career. So at what point did you think, you know what, this isn't what I planned, but I'm really enjoying it and I want to continue to pursue my career down this path?
I would say it's very early on. I learned everything that I know pretty much at Dell. I would say my job before I started Dell was waiting tables, and that is really where I learned how to treat other people, and just in that overall service industry. So that really helped me as I came on to Dell and not understanding or not having the business education behind me. It was still the logic, reason, as well as the caring for others that helped me throughout my path, and automatically being able to grow and receiving feedback on the things that I'm doing and be able to make an impact. I immediately grasped onto that and tried to be better and learned everything that I could from all my peers around me.
Wow, that's awesome. So your career progression, did it transition fields at Dell? Like it sounded like you had 6 different promotions. What was the entry level role? And then how did it kind of progress to where you are today?
I started as a temporary employee, and I got my foot in the door in sales. So I was in the sales organization for a very brief amount of time. I actually learned something about myself, which is I am not a wonderful salesperson. Luckily, the temp agency at the time allowed me to choose a different organization, and there happened to be an opening in in a department that were basically operators. We're called call directors. You take a customer's phone call from tech support and make sure that they're routed to the appropriate place. So that was one of my starting points, and I ended up through that getting an interview to be hired on with Dell full-time in our command center. The command center monitors any of tech support's parts and service orders, and I got the courage to walk in when I didn't even know what the meaning of logistics was.
Wow.
And went to the interview, and I think just showed up and showed my personality, and they saw that, they loved that, and luckily they were just as full of personality as I was, and I got hired for that position. Started in the command center. That's the piece where I was a Dell employee for the first time, and again just showed up every day, did everything that I possibly could, worked any extra hours that I could, and did everything not to just understand what my job was, but what are the jobs of everyone around me, so that I understood how your decisions affect everyone else, so that you can make better decisions. I then worked up to a logistics role in which I managed certain warehouses within the United States that carries parts, so that anyone that needs replacement parts for their systems would have it within a certain amount of time. I managed that inventory. I moved on to be a technical account manager, so I was the single point of contact for large enterprise customers to help them through their tech support journey when they had large critical types of events that they needed assistance with. And I got my first leadership role. I have been a senior manager inside of our tech support organization as a server engineer manager, and from there moved on into our education services organization where I'm at today. And this is what I love the most, because you can take everything that you've learned across your journey and use it to help everyone else achieve their goals.
Yeah, that's a great point. It sounds like one of the reasons you were probably given that opportunity is because of the breadth of experience you had across numerous divisions, right?
Yes. It was a really big advantage to have the viewpoint from different organizations in each one of those roles, again, to really help you make a holistic decision to ensure that the choices that you're making isn't negatively impacting anyone else.
Right. Wow. All right. So now what is a typical day in the life of or day in the week of? I've had to expand this to a week because so many jobs are so diverse. If I just say one day, it misses a lot of facets of what people do in their job. So pick whichever one makes the most sense for you.
Yeah, I would say both in a day and a week, my role consists of primarily meetings, but these are fun, energetic, lively meetings, mostly done over Zoom. I do predominantly work from home. There are several days a week that I will go into the office, but because Dell Technologies is global and we're in over 180 different countries, the majority of people that I'm working with every day are not located in the same location as I am, nor the same country as I am. So I can be in meetings, and again, mostly through Zoom, and we try to use our video functionality as much as possible. It definitely creates the relationships and connectedness that we need. And my day is full of learning more about the issues that anyone is having that is preventing them from providing a great customer service experience for our customers and our employees internally, and knowing enough about what those are that we can go in as a team and determine what are the things that we can do to make those easier and to resolve those problems.
That's a great overview. So now give me a specific, so what's the end product that affects a Dell worker? Like, is that training? Is it modules? Is it ways of working? What's your output to that would affect the bottom line? I guess maybe not the best way to put it.
In my position as an education services consultant, I'm focused on our internal stakeholders, primarily tech support. So we're looking at global tech support, both from an enterprise standpoint and a client, commercial or consumer standpoint. So whether or not you are an individual at home with your laptop and need help, or if you're a company with thousands of laptops, or if you're a large enterprise customer with a data center, it is making sure that anyone that is answering that phone call to assist you has the education that they need to fully assist you to resolve your issue quickly.
Oh, that's awesome. Great way to put it. Cool. All right. As a reminder, you can find all previous episodes at learnfromothers.org. And if you're an educator or a student, you can search for career by career cluster. So we learned what you wanted to be when you grew up and what you actually do today. So looking back on your career, what would you do differently?
And I've given some thought to this, and I would say, if anything, I'm extremely proud of where I came from and the hard work that it took to get where I'm at today. And the only thing that I would do differently, I would say, is manage my overall mental health in a different way, making sure that I know how to manage stress, focus on self-care, meditation, yoga, just overall health. I think when we are young, we take those things for granted, and it's hard to see the future and to imagine that future going. As far as I am today, I didn't imagine myself being where I'm at today. And if I could look back, I would make some healthier choices in life.
Wow, that's a really great answer. I really like that. You really got to look at the long road and not, short-term perspective, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, okay. Well, now let's talk to the student who would like to do what you do. Now, this could be your exact job description, or you can kind of define it as you will. What advice would you give them? Is there a typical career path?
There's not a typical career path, and I think that's a good thing, and it's a challenging thing at the same time. I would say for me, I got the opportunity to get my foot in the door and work my way up, and I know of hundreds of people that could tell you a very similar story, although they have a different path. It is absolutely a great idea to get in the door early and work your way up and show what you can go out and do, not only for others, but for yourself, and to decide where that path takes you, because that path can be different for anyone based on what they truly want for themselves and the impact that they want to make on the world. Other than that, there are just as many people, if not more, that do have college degrees that come into Dell Technologies at a higher level, and it's not entry level. I would say everyone on my team today, I am the only person that does not have a college degree. And so there's a lot of different paths that you can take. I think the only advice that I have is to start where you are. Wherever you can get in and start learning as much as you can.
Yeah, that's really, really great advice. I kind of started the same way. I got into my quote-unquote career without a college degree and worked my way up. And it was interesting because it just gave you I ended up having such great background because I had to do like every step of the way, learn every role on my way up, which was pretty cool. It really gives you a lot of wealth and experience to draw upon as you deal with folks that either in the same position or one like it, which is pretty cool.
It does, and I would say it's also very important along that path. And another thing that I would add to that list of something that I would do differently is just always remember that you're on this continuous learning journey. And although you may not have a degree in something, it doesn't stop me from going out and learning more, whether it be through books or classes. Dell Technologies offers a wide variety of training and education, tuition assistance for free. So I've been taking advantage of those things to make sure that I am continuing my education.
Yeah, that's really, really great. Well, are there any projects you're working on that you would like to share?
I would like to share a non-work related one. It is
Sure.
a project that is, as I say, it's non-work related. It is absolutely work related. You asked me a question about what would I do differently, and it was about stress management and just overall health. For the past year, I have been on this transformational journey, and I have become a runner. So I did my first half marathon in February, and I'm extremely excited and just proud of myself for doing that. I never imagined that I would call myself a runner, so it's very important, and again, I'm very proud that I can do that. My next project is training for a full marathon, and it is enlightening to know how much effort and strength that you put into something like that absolutely carries over to your career as well, and how much you have to have self-love and self-care to tell yourself and to believe in yourself that you can do something, and to be able to accomplish that gives you a lot more confidence in your work life as well, that you can set a goal and accomplish it.
Yeah, that's really, really great. Congratulations on that. I briefly became a runner, and I didn't take it as much. Actually, I stopped more because of injury than anything else. But I did really enjoy it to a certain extent. I actually only experienced the runner's high like twice. I wish I had experienced it more for sure. So that is really cool, and it sounds like you're really proceeding at a wonderful pace to be able to do a marathon at some point in the future. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Well, now, what's the best way for our students to learn more about you or your company?
Yes, you can learn more about our company if you're interested to go to jobs.dell.com. And as far as I go, anybody can email me at michele.jones@dell.com, and I'm more than happy to reach out and to provide information.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for taking us on your career journey today, Michele.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to Learn from Others, where we help others succeed by sharing success. Where will our next adventure take us? Subscribe to find out. If you know of someone who has a cool career story or occupation, contact Greg through Instagram at Greg Stanley LFO. That's GregStanley LFO. And we will see you soon as we learn from others together.